Okay, so next we've got the types of long-term memory. So there are 3 types of long-term memory that you need to know. You need to be able to name them, and you need to be able to evaluate the concept of these different types of long-term memory. So as it says at the bottom of the screen there's 3 types: semantic, episodic, and procedural. Now, it's worth thinking about how we know that there might be different types of memory if you think about 3 questions like this. So you've got 3 separate questions. What's the capital of Australia? How did you celebrate your last birthday? And how do you upload a photo to Facebook? I'm old, so Facebook is as far as we go. So in terms of those questions, what's happening is each of those questions involves a different aspect of long-term memory. So remembering what the capital of Australia is, so that's a fact. Remembering how you celebrated your last birthday, that's something that happened to you. And remembering how to upload a photo to Facebook, that's how to physically do something. So each of these questions requires you to use a different store in your long-term memory. So long-term memory can be divided into tasks that are knowing things and knowing how to do things. So how to do stuff is what we call a procedural memory. So it's an implicit memory. We'll come to that in a second. So how to ride a bike, how to tie your shoelace, how to pick up a cup. That's a procedural memory. Declarative memories are knowing about things. So that can either be semantic stuff, so meaning, general knowledge, or episodic stuff, so personal recollections, things that have happened to you. So procedural memory is what we call an implicit memory. We don't have to think about it. It's automatic. It's how to do stuff. And declarative memory is an explicit memory. So from the diagram on the last page, procedural on the left is implicit. Declarative is explicit. So implicit, that you don't need to think about doing them. Explicit, you do. So there are 3 types, so semantic, episodic, and procedural. So semantic is facts, it's knowledge, it's explicit. Episodic is things that happen to you, so details and context, emotions. And procedural is how to do stuff. You find it difficult to explain a procedural memory. It's hard to explain how you ride a bike. You just know how to do it. So that's why it's an implicit memory. So you've got these 3 separate types: semantic, episodic, and procedural. In an exam, you might be asked to state them. You might be asked to define them. You might be given an example of a memory and asked which type of these memories it is. So you need to know the differences between them. You need to be able to describe each one. And that's go back. That's all you have for your AO1. So it's just the 3 types, a description of them, and being able to apply them to different scenarios. Now, in terms of AO3, in terms of evaluation, you can use evidence from brain scans. So this is in your textbook. So there is brain scan research that supports the idea that there are different kinds of long-term memory because they are in different parts of your brain. So that's some good objective biological evidence. So the notes are here, and also they are in your textbook. You can also use some case studies for your AO3. So we've got Clive Waring that we've mentioned before, and the PowerPoint will show you the video of Clive, just to remind you where he plays his piano. We can use Clive, and then we can criticise using brain damage patients, using case study patients, the fact that there's no causation, the fact that it's difficult to generalize from them. So case studies such as Clive or HM, who will come to in a second, we cannot establish a causal relationship. So if we use a case study as AO3, we can say why there might be problems with that. Again, we can use Henry, we can use HM, and the video and the PowerPoint will link to Henry. And then we could say that, however, Henry can be used to support the idea that there's different kinds of long-term memory, supporting the distinction between procedural memories and declarative memory, so implicit and declarative memory. So Henry provides good support for the idea that there are different types of long-term memory. So this bit here is just from your textbook. You can go and kind of make notes on that. It's in your booklet as well. If you're interested in Henry a bit more, there's a really good BBC Mind Changers program on it. It's kind of 20 minutes. It's just audio. It's a radio program where Claudia Hammond, who's in the picture, talks about HM. So the link's there if you want to listen to that. And that's it really for your AO3. So you've just got the case studies and you have the brain scan evidence. That is all you need. It's a really nice topic if it comes up as a 16 marker, because it's about quality and not quantity. This is just a screenshot of the can you questions from the textbook. And this is the kind of question you might get. So explain what's meant by episodic or semantic or procedural memory. Explain some evidence. You could use the brain scan evidence, or you could use the case study evidence. And then the 16-mark question would be to describe and evaluate types of long-term memory. The alternative type of question is if you're given an event or you're given a scenario and you're asked what type of memory is involved in that scenario. But it's a fairly straightforward section of the unit, and it's one that gets asked about fairly frequently.